Hi everyone, Wudijo here. I want to bring you a little video about stutter stepping because I've played a lot of multi-shot Demon Hunter this season, and this is something I got a lot of questions about, like how do I do it and so on, because it's actually very hard to do on multi-shot, and there's probably also like a few builds where this can be applied to, but I think this one is probably the hardest. And well, maybe it will help a few people to actually like improve their abilities to stutter step, and I just want to show you guys how I do it, and maybe it will help. So basically what my setup is, I have left click evasive fire, right click multi-shot, and I have my force move on shift, and basically whenever I use evasive fire I hold down shift as well, just to make sure that I actually shoot where I want to shoot. And you know, like when there's like monsters and you try to left click on them and you miss them, then you actually like might just walk into the direction and, you know, run to your death pretty much. And on right click you don't have to do that, because right click will always shoot the ability that you want to shoot, but just on left click you have to hold down a shift. And I have my force move on the mouse wheel, so I do it like this, and you can see like all these circles on the ground. I have it on mouse wheel up and down, and you can basically get a lot of clicks like this. And there are a few ways to use this. One is, for example, when you're farming, you can hold down right click for multi-shot and then scroll, and you will move forward like this. Basically what this does is it uses the downtime after the attack before you can attack again to move. And you don't actually lose any attacks like this, but it just like basically the animation is split in two parts. One is the attack and one is basically the recovery animation, and you can cancel the recovery animation by moving. You know, you can actually move during that time. And this is also what you use for stutter stepping generally. And well, if you stutter step around, you can do it with just clicking, like this. That's a little bit of a mistake there at the start, but yeah, generally, you know, let's say the tutorial is the target here. Then you know, you see my clicks to move are always like right next to the character. Like I basically hit my feet here, like this. And then I just aim in the general direction of the target with the right click, and then, you know, I move back and forth with my mouse. And you can see I have a pretty high sensitivity. That's definitely key here, because of this high attack speed you have to do this like, you know, 3 times per second going back and forth with the high attack speed that you have. And it's gonna be quite difficult when you have a low sensitivity. Yeah, and the other way to do it is with the notorious mouse wheel. You can hear my stream and it clears usually, and this makes it a little bit more consistent, I think, because you can focus a little bit more on actually aiming at the right target, and you don't have to be super precise with where you click. So you can use the force move. You can probably do it with other buttons as well, but I think the mouse wheel is definitely the best choice here, because you also have it like available just with, you know, the finger resting on it. And you can do it like this basically. And I'm gonna do this again. And you can see that I actually click out, like basically click on the ground, like in very different positions, like basically the entire line, like from top to bottom on the screen, because this is the way I move the mouse here, like this, you see it. And because you use this resting animation to move, you will generally, you know, evade dangerous attacks like archer attacks or whatever, and can survive much better. You can also reposition yourself, you know, for example into an Oculus ring, or just, you know, for a little bit more sales value, or just, you know, maybe there's something running towards you and you lose steady aim, and then you can get that again by moving out of it, and so on. So generally it's definitely pretty good to move and not just stand still while shooting, because you don't actually lose any DPS from the animation cancelling, but you can only gain DPS by, you know, just being in a safer spot and maybe getting some more damage from these multipliers. And with the mouse wheel, this generally works so well, because basically you will always keep moving, and, you know, as long as you hit the target with the multi-shot and you somewhat aim or like point into the right direction while moving, you will have an easier time stutter stepping than with just the clicking. Like the clicking is definitely a lot harder, I think, because you have to click at the right spot, and if you misclick on the wrong spot, then you might move in the wrong direction, or you might shoot in the wrong direction or something. With mouse wheel, mouse wheel, I have a little bit more slack basically, so this definitely helps. And well, you can also use the mouse wheel for other things. I haven't made another video about this, so I can mention this here quickly. But basically, it imitates like a left click when you hold down left click and mouse wheel. So you can loot stuff, you can open chests and so on when you do this. For example, now I'm just moving and holding down left click, and then do the mouse wheel, and when there's like items on the ground, you'll pick them up, for example. And the same way with the shooting, it just imitates the right clicks. So yeah. I'm going to show you like a little clip here of how I do this in like an actual Rift. So I'm just going to open like 112 here, and yeah, maybe we'll get like a little bit of a better idea how this works then. So here, I just move like around, and now hold down the shift click, the shift for example for the left click, and you can see like here start stepping around with the force move. It's generally relatively easy for me because I have gained a lot of practice like this season. Like this is actually the first season where I actually ever pushed multi-shot, so I'm not really perfect at it, but most of the time I think I do fine. And yeah, basically that's how you go. Let's try to find a bit of pull here. Let's do something like this. And you can see like here you could also left click when there's like not many monsters around. But generally, like I try to go like left and right here, up and down, and try to evade the bees, for example, and this Tomb Guardian attack. And it also helps for these Quill Fiends, for example, because Quill Fiends usually always hit you, but if you start at the side, they might miss you sometimes. So even though they're not really dangerous, you will get a little bit of less damage, and in some situations you might just die when you take too much damage from low attack, like low damage sources, because you just can't out heal it eventually anymore. Here, for example, we're in a good position, we have good CS value, so I'm just gonna stand still and nuke. And there was also nothing dangerous really coming for me. And let me just go again here. You want to go into Oculus. Yeah, now in the Oculus, for example, you could step around a little bit, because you have these fire chains. They were coming for me there, so you don't really want to get hit by those. And you see like I also miss some multi-shots sometimes. That can happen, but it's usually not too bad. At least also not when you're not really nuking on convention or something. So yeah. Well, this is a pretty safe rift here, so I could just stand still a lot. But you see like this one Cortez walking up to me. I'll lose my steady aim now, for example, so I want to move away like this, so I get a steady aim back. You can tell when you have steady aim by looking at your Unhurled Essence 4-piece bonus on the buff bar, because they both have the same range, and as long as the Unhurled Essence bonus is not resetting, you don't have steady aim. So for example, now it's constantly resetting, you see it like every half second. And now if I walk up too close, for example, like this, you can see it's not resetting anymore. Yeah. Yeah, it's a speed panel. Speed panels are super funny, because it gives you even more attack speed. So you have to be really quick then. Generally I would have to say that it's not too bad if you lose a few attacks by trying to do it properly, instead of doing it too fast and then misclicking or something. You can do it a little bit slower, for example like this. And then whenever it's like easy to do, you can just try to do it a little bit faster. That is usually a little better than messing it up and actually not hitting anything, for example when you shoot to the side accidentally or something like this. So try to be careful about where to aim and make sure you actually hit something, instead of doing it too fast and hitting nothing way too often. It's not too bad if you don't use the full attack speed potential of your multi-shot. And like for example, you have like around 3 attacks per second or so generally, with the 50% bonus from the Yang's recurve. And if you only do like let's say 2.7 or so, on average, that's also fine. That's much better instead of not hitting anything. Yeah. So that's about it for this video. I hope it helped in some way, and yeah, maybe you guys can use this to improve as well. I think Wudijo is actually relatively fun when you push, and I'm quite happy that it got buffed so much this season. So like, as I said, I never really pushed with it. I use it for farming a lot, but you know, you don't really stutter step around and like that crazy in those situations usually. And yeah, like it was definitely like a fun little experience here this season for me, at least so far. And like, I'm gonna push it 112 probably as well. But yeah, like learning the stutter stepping is pretty cool. I think it can help you like probably in other games, in other classes, and in Diablo and so on. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for watching.